Welcome to another review from the Four Corners of the Board with your host, Graeme Anderson. Hello everyone, this is Graeme Anderson from Four Corners of the Board. Today I'm going to be looking at Pandemic, Reign of Cthulhu. And I must admit, when I saw this cover, I thought, another Pandemic game? Then I saw it again and said, oh, another Cthulhu game? Well, I do like Pandemic. I don't love it, but I do like the game. I think the game itself is a good fundamental game. Cthulhu I am getting a little tired of. I've played an awful lot of Cthulhu games in the last little while, so, you know, we'll see how this goes. So is this just a reskin of Pandemic? So is it just base Pandemic with Cthulhu thrown over the top? Or did they take the theme and integrate it and make a new game based on Pandemic? Well, we'll get to the table. I'll show you how it's played. Then we'll come back here and I'll give you my final thoughts on Pandemic, Reign of Cthulhu. Okay, so here we have Reign of Cthulhu set up for 3 players. The first thing you're going to be doing is setting up the board. Now I've already done the pre-setup and I'll just kind of walk you through how you set it up. The first thing you're going to do is set up what I call the Doom track. There are a bunch of these old one cards and you're going to be shuffling them all up and you're going to be placing them out on the board, and they will just tell you either a one-time effect that's going to happen when they are revealed, or they could be with the infinity symbol on them, which is ongoing effect. So you're going to be shuffling them up. The only one that's not shuffled is the last one, which is Cthulhu. Cthulhu is always the last one, and when Cthulhu appears, game's over. So these are all placed face down. The next you're going to do is you're going to set up the initial summoning for all the different occultists, which are the little guys, and the Shoggoth, which are the kind of the big guys. And I've already done that, but essentially how it works is you're going to be drawing 2 cards. That's where the first 3 go, 2 cards where 2 go, 2 cards where 1 occultist go, and the last card is where going to be the Shoggoth appears. You are also going to be having a player deck, and the player deck is just basically full of the cards that just have the towns on them, and they're all the different colors. The other type of card that shuffled into that at the beginning of the game are relic cards. Depending on the number of players will determine how many relic cards. The relic cards are very powerful cards, and they are always good, and you want to get these because these are very, very powerful. So you're going to shuffle these into the player deck, and then you're going to deal out 2 cards to each player. Before you start, you're then going to be taking the 4 Evil Stir cards, and you're going to be shuffling those in equally into the deck. So you're going to make 4 separate piles and shuffle one of these cards into each pile, and put all the 4 separate ones back together. And everybody's going to be placing their characters at the Arkham train station. The one last thing I haven't mentioned is you also have the sanity die, and I'll get into this a bit later as we talk about the different actions. You're also going to be placing all of the extra occultists and the extra Shoggoth the side of the table within reach. And the relic deck is actually left here because there are some actions which allow you to draw relic cards. So on a player's turn, they can do 4 actions. The first action you can do is just walk. That's moving from your current location, following a white line to the next circle. So that's one action. Another action you can do is to take the bus. You can move from a bus terminal, which are where all these little icons are, so that's where the buses depart. If you discard a card matching the town you are in at the bus terminal, you can go to anywhere on the board. So if the reporter gets rid of that Arkham card because she's in Arkham, she can go to any location on the board. The other option is to spend a card of the town you want to go to. So in this case, I could get rid of the red and go to anywhere in the red. So either way will work. Another type of movement is through a gate. If you are on a gate, and there are 4 gates on the board, 1 in each town, down there and up here, you can go from gate to gate. But whenever you use a gate, you must roll the sanity die. And I'll talk about the sanity die now. So whenever you are forced to roll a sanity die, which will be whenever you're moving from gate to gate, whenever you move into an area with a Shoggoth, or Shoggoth moves into you, or you play one of your relic cards, then you must roll the sanity die. And there's a blank side to it, which is what you want, nothing bad happens, or you lose a sanity, or lose 2 sanity, or you place 2 cultists at the location you are in. The last action you can do is trade cards. You must be in the same spot, and you can either trade a relic card or the town card that you're in, and your maximum hand size is 7. So you can do all those things, but the main thing you want to be doing is battling the occultists, shutting gates, and battling the Shoggoth. So how do you do that? Well, if you are in a city or in an area with an occultist for one action, you can defeat the occultist. If you are in an area with a Shoggoth, you can spend 3 actions, and they all have to be on the same turn, so you can't split them up between turns. I can spend 3 actions and defeat one of the Shoggoth. If I do that, that's good, because I actually get to take a relic card into my hand. The last thing you can do is close a gate. If you're on a gate and you have 5 cards of that town, so I would need 5 Arkham cards in my hand, I can close this gate. I'm going to take the gate symbol, place it on there, and if I was insane, and insane is when you lose all of your sanity, so if I ever lose all my insanity, I'm going to flip my card over and I'm now insane, and I have 1 less action, and I now have different attributes for my character. If I close a gate, then I'm actually going to be healed. I'm going to flip my card back over to the sane side, I gain all my 4 sanity back, and I arrive at the hospital. So I awake at the hospital. So that's definitely a thing you want to do. Once you've taken all your four actions, you're going to be drawing 2 cards off the player deck. And again, these are just the town cards. If you draw the Evil Stirs card, you are just going to be following the steps here. So the first thing you're going to be doing is everybody's going to be rolling the sanity die, and either nothing happens, losing sanity, or having 2 occultists appear at your location. The next thing you're going to be doing is the Awakening. You are going to take the bottom card of the draw pile, and you're going to be placing a Shoggoth at that location. So here I drew the woods, so I would place a Shoggoth here. The next thing you're going to do is do the Awakening. Actually do the Awakening and then Shoggoth, but the Awakening is just turning over the next old one card, and again, this old one means that there's going to be an ongoing action that's going to happen. I'm also changing the summoning rate, so the summoning rate always starts at 2, and then over here it's changed to 3. So you're either going to be drawing 2 or 3 cards during the summoning phase. And the last thing you're going to be doing for the Evil Stirs card is the Cultist Regroup. So you're going to be taking all of the discard here, shuffle them all up, and place that there. So that's the end of the Evil Stirs card. The very last thing that everybody's going to be doing is, based on the summoning rate, you're going to be drawing that many cards off the summoning deck. So you're going to draw a card, and you're going to be placing a cultist wherever it says. So we've got the police station, and we've got the church. So we have an occultist there. If you ever have to place an occultist where there already are 3 cultists, they don't spread, you don't place it, but another summoning happens. So if I had to place a 4th one at the swamp, I wouldn't place it, but I would turn the next card over, do what it says. And remember, if you ever have to reveal this last one, the game is automatically over. If you draw a card out of the summoning deck that's got the Shoggoth moves on it, that means all the Shoggoth on the board are going to move to the closest open gate. So he's going to move to this, because that's where the gate is, and he is going to move down towards the graveyard. So he's going to move there. If the Shoggoth ever has to move and they're already on a gate, so if this guy was asked to move again, he actually comes off the board. Yay, he's off the board, but we turn over another old one. So you definitely don't want them to be going to the open gates. So that is all the actions you can do. Once you've done the summoning step, it's the next player's turn. So how do you win the game? Well, you win the game by closing off all of the 4 gates. So there's 1 gate in each town. And how do you lose? Well, there's many ways to lose. If Cthulhu ever gets turned over, game's automatically over. If you run out of cards in the player draw deck, the game is over. If you ever need to place a cultist onto the board and you've run out, game is over. If you ever have to place a Shoggoth on the table and you don't have any more in reserve, the game is over. If all your characters, all the players, are insane at the same time, the game is over. One last thing I'll just quickly mention for the sanity die, when this gets rolled, so you're either going to roll it when you're going from gate to gate, you're going to roll it if you play a relic card out of your hand, you're going to roll it if a Shoggoth ever appears or ever moves into your location or appears at location, or you move into a location with a Shoggoth. And of course, you're always going to be rolling it at the beginning of the Evil Stirs phase. Anyway, that gives you a brief overview of Reign of Cthulhu. Let's get back to the table and tell you what I thought of the game.
Well, that was a pleasant surprise.
Reign of Cthulhu is not just Pandemic with a thin veneer of Cthulhu thrown on top of it. It is its own distinct game. There are a lot of things I really, really enjoyed about this game. I like the character cards. That's one of my favorite things that they introduced, especially with the sanity. I love that there are ways you can lose sanity, like rolling the sanity die. And when you run out of sanity, you flip your card over and you now are insane. I love that you have one less action to take, but you have different abilities. So you need to change the way you're playing your character. And I also love that you can be healed and come, get your sanity back and become your regular character. I love that there are the old ones that awaken throughout the game that change how the game plays. There's some of them that are ongoing effects that will make it more difficult to move or to close gates, and some of them are a one-time effect. And because they're randomized, you don't know what's coming. I thought that was an excellent addition to this. I love the sanity die. I love the different types of movement you can do. So all in all, as you can see, I've really enjoyed this. This was a nice breath of fresh air from the Pandemic game. Now, that being said, I guess the big question is, if you already have Pandemic, do you also need Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu? And I would say yes. I think they are separate enough games that Reign of Cthulhu can stand by itself. I think if you have Pandemic and you're getting a little tired of saving the world from diseases, well, why not try and save the world from the great old ones and the occultists who are trying to awaken them? I think it gives you a different feel. It's a shorter game, but there's enough there that it's familiar, but there's also enough new there that makes it a brand new game. So I think that if you enjoy Pandemic or you enjoy Cthulhu, this is definitely a game you should check out. And as usual, thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching another review from the Four Corners of the Board. Please like and subscribe to these videos. You can also follow us on social media, email us directly, or check out our website at fourcornersoftheboard.com.